Okay, so now the most important part of our day, the lovely Andrea Edwards. And for those of you who don't know Andrea already, where have you been? Like, where have you been? This lady is absolutely everywhere. And she's been an inspiration to leading ladies in business. And I know so many of us in the room since day one. Andrea's like thing is, what can I do for you? Like all the time. So yeah, what better person to have as our International Women's Day speaker than the lovely Andrea Edwards. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and hopefully everyone in Manchester, Leeds, and Cheshire can hear us. And Graham.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, ladies of Liverpool, and hello, ladies of Cheshire, Manchester, and Leeds, and obviously Graham as well. Graham is the only male in the room. I apologise if that offends anybody. We can ask him to close his face off if that's okay, but I'm sure we'll do fine with that. So I just need to set the scene. Graham, come back on. Graham, come back on. I just need to set the scene about why I've been asked to be here today. I was asked back in October, would I come and do a talk, which I was hugely proud to be asked on, particularly this day. And then I've had lots of different things I want to talk about. And I'm going to talk about self-assurance and resilience, which is absolutely what we need as ladies in business. But before I actually get to that, I'm going to talk about what happened this morning. So there's maybe 3 or 4 people in the room this morning with me. As we came and the balloons were being set up, the camera was being, the TV was being sorted, tea and coffee was being made. And I thought, I will now take my Converse off, which I used to get from the car to here, and I'll put my boots on. Okay, hold on there. So the first boot, thought I looked really glamorous, was this boot. This boot went on, what a nice boot, nice heel. I'm only 4'11", so I thought I'd give myself some height for the day, yeah? I then put the second boot on. Are you ready? This is the second boot. So, if ever I am an example of self-assurance, self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-efficacy, and being resilient, I think the boot is actually my motto of the day. It doesn't matter what you're wearing or what you're doing, as long as you've got something to give. So I've giggled, I've laughed, I've had tears. That's my first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is the colour in the room. Came in this morning and it's purple, and I said, can I just ask why purple? It was the colour of International Women's Day, which I didn't know about. My business partner died. A couple of people in this room know her. Nicola Lee, she died age 60. Her colour was purple, my colour was orange. So I'm quite emotional this morning. Anyway, I'll pass on that bit there because Hannah's going to cry too. So I want to thank you guys for asking me to speak. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. Sorry. I have been in business for 15 years. I have been a business coach, mentor, trainer for 15 years. I've got a client who I've just spied in the corner over here. I think I've worked with Helen 11 years. You think longer, okay? Helen's a bit of an OG client of mine for a long, long time. Prior to that, I was the marketing manager and the operations manager for McDonald's UK. Process and systems are in my blood. People, to get sustainable profitability, you do it through people. If you don't get that bit right in business, you are not going to survive in business. And I'm proud to say that I have somebody else sitting in front of me who now owns one of my businesses. So she bought it from me. Hannah worked for me for, I'll say the wrong year and she'll tell me off anyway, 10 years. 10 years, I got it right. And I'm proud to say the people that work for me stayed around me. And that is because you put the right things in. So resilience, that self-assurance, what I want to talk about. So why have I picked that subject? In January, we went to a leading ladies network event, 130 people in the room. And the question was asked of 130 females sitting in a room on their own, no males, not even a Graham. And would you stand up and tell the rest of the room something that you're proud of or something that you have achieved? So I spanned the room. Nobody stood up. I stood up, waved my arms and went, okay, I'll stand up then. I'm pretty confident already. Two other people then followed me in that room and stood up. That blew my mind, that even though we had 130 women in that room who were proud of what they were doing in business around that table, they didn't have the power within them to stand up and speak. So when I spoke to Cal and talked about what we need to speak about, is to understand the resilience sandwich. The thing I want to talk to you about today is something that is called the move sandwich. And why it's called a sandwich, where is Margaret? Margaret's over there. It's called a sandwich because I have the bizarrest brain. I am dyslexic, by the way, and I sent my business partner a picture of my boots this morning, and he said, was that a dyslexic action? I didn't know if it was a dyslexic action or a menopause action, but, you know, I'm doubly hampered with both. So I'm going to hand these out now, and we're going to do a little bit of work while we're sitting here today. And this is called a move sandwich. And why it's called a move sandwich is sometimes when I meditate, I have to use a word. Margaret's already laughing. And the word is a ham. And you repeat that word until you go into a state of meditation. What I found was all I did was talk about or think about ham sandwiches. So I now can't meditate without giggling. So I want to talk to you really about resilience. So I bought some things to remind us about resilience, which is a squidgy ball. Oh, I think I should get an orange one out first, obviously. So we need to be resilient. We need to be able to come back when things go wrong. So if you are not resilient and you do not believe you spring back, we need to understand why. I believe in my move resilient sandwich that you need to have self-assurance. You need to have self-confidence. You need to have self-esteem and self-efficacy. I'm going to briefly talk about the top three, but I'm going to stay around self-efficacy. How many people in this room have heard of the word self-efficacy? 2 people, okay? That in its, 3. That in itself is a concern, because without understanding self-efficacy, we can't improve it. And self-efficacy is what allows me to stand here in my Converse today. And it's okay. Even though I plan to wear black boots, it's okay. So, self-assurance, confidence in your own ability. Who in this room could put their hand up and say they're confident in their own ability? I'm going to tell you how to fill the sheet out in a minute. Put your hand up if you're confident in your own ability. Cool? And I've got you to put work on that first little block on the sheet. And you're going to grade yourself. 10 being the highest it could possibly be. I want you to grade yourself for that. And then across the top of there, I want you to put maybe work. Maybe home, maybe being a parent, maybe being a sister, maybe being a child to a parent. And you're going to grade yourself, because what we don't understand as humans is we change in all the different spheres of our life. So we might have great self-confidence, self-esteem sitting here right now in our little bubble, but how good do we feel when we go networking? So another one of those could be sitting networking, could be sitting in a boardroom meeting, could be sitting in a training meeting, could be going for an interview, because we will change depending on the scenario around us. So going back to our resilience on our squidgy ball. Would anybody like a squidgy ball, by the way? Yeah. There you go. One for you. Did anybody else say yes to it? Yeah. Oh, purple. There you go. There you go. So that resilience is key. So what I want here is you to grade yourself on self-assurance. That is the confidence in your own ability and character. It's part of your self-worth. It's what you are deep down. It's how you feel when nobody else is in the room with you. And then we're going to get on to self-efficacy. So if you just grade those, please, they're only for yourselves. They are not for anybody else. Okay, so I now want to talk about somebody that has healthy self-esteem. I could do it if I wanted to. For somebody who has low efficacy, I choose not to. I could go to the gym every morning, like my business partner, Mark Waldron. And this, I have low efficacy because I have no desire to go to the gym every morning. But I do have a desire to lose weight. But then I choose to have a vodka. So in that moment, my efficacy is low, but it's okay because I choose it to be low. So until we understand how our brain works and how our growth mindset fits with resilience, self-assurance, self-efficacy, we are never going to be that whole businesswoman, that whole parent, that whole partner that you want to be. It's okay. I don't want to go to the gym every day, so I don't mind that I have low efficacy at that point. Does this make sense? I'm seeing lots of nodding in the room. Does anybody give me an example where they have high efficacy and high self-esteem? Every hand in this room should go up at that point because you're all experts in your field, aren't you? Yeah? So I'll ask the question again. Who would like to put their hand up because they have high efficacy, high self-esteem? We're getting there. Okay. What was the difference in my first question to my second question? Sorry? Time to think, okay? The wording. What did you say, guys? I gave you evidence to why. So we spend our whole time, by the way, assuming we are not in the right space, we are not good enough, we're not experts in our fields, we don't have strong efficacy. If you are sitting here as a business person, somebody that is fabulous at what you do, even if you're just starting off, you've got an inner belief, you've got the knowledge, you believe you have the ability, but actually, can you step into the ring? And that is when your efficacy kicks in. So I really need to understand how we would get all leading ladies here and up and down the country to understand when they're talking about their own job, what they do, can they have high efficacy? Somebody with high efficacy is okay with risk. And the reason most people didn't put their hand up is because they didn't want to risk in case I asked you the question. But if we want to be equals in the workplace or above equal in the workplace, we want to be accepted, we want equal pay or higher, because I can guarantee if I ask that question in a room full of males and they were sitting in the professional capacity, they'd put their hand up. And I'm getting lots of nods around the room here. So we're going to shift. We have to shift our self-efficacy. So an example of somebody that has high self-esteem and high efficacy would be an architect. I have a client I'm visualizing. Fabulous architect. Got awards, doing brilliantly. Take that person and put them in a networking environment. It's not safe. There's no rules. And the biggest thing we have is that if we don't sit with rules, we then become the real person who we are. So we struggle with our self-esteem, our self-awareness, our self-confidence, and self-efficacy. So we're great in our own little bubbles, but I need to share some love with you guys to make us all to be better than just in our own bubble, or better when we're just at our desk at home or in the office. That we are as good as we want to be when we're with our best friends or our partners. So how many people in this room, if you spend a minute now grading yourself on self-efficacy in those areas, have got anything above an 8? You've got an 8 in self-efficacy. Oh, I've got 3 hands up, 4 hands up. Wow. What do we say that was like 40%? I just want to talk now a little bit more detail about self-efficacy. And the word I want to remind myself of is when I was doing this research and really trying to understand why some people have the ability to do what they do, and some people don't really step off the precipice and they sit and wait, and that's the lack of risk, is impression management. When I read this word, I was like, oh, I've not heard that phrase before. But I'm going to put it into my own terms, and that is sharing vulnerability. We are not great at sharing vulnerabilities. COVID taught me that it was okay to do that. I've been a business coach for 15 years, as I said. I've had nine shops across the UK, 100 staff. Business that I've supported, are in this room as a coach. Somebody asked me how I was. I was always brilliant, fantastic, sun shining, always positive, because I didn't believe I could show vulnerability when somebody was paying me to be somebody to be positive to them. Then COVID came. My business partner died. I lost my businesses. I made over 70 people along with, I didn't make Hannah redundant. Hannah was with me while I made all these people redundant. I was caving in personally, but I was still having to show up to be a business coach. And then I realized that when I was on Move Online, that if I shared my stories with the people online, I was giving them the ability to open up as well. And I was also telling them that actually there was life after it, because you don't believe there's everything going to be past that time. So the word that has been used a lot, and this is in MBAs when you sort of go around Harvard and you look at what they're doing, was impression management. We are so frightened of letting anybody know that we're not streakily perfect, that we put an impression out of what we want people to think we should be. We got to really stop that. I could have rung my husband today and gone, I need you to bring that boot down. I can't possibly wear my Converse to present him any 4'11". I didn't really care. I thought I'm going to show my boots instead. And that story's going to live with me for the next 20, 30 years, really, isn't it? Oh, she's the one that came to that meeting with the wrong boots. Because you can either make it to define you, or you can do something else about it. Going back to school, I mentioned I'm dyslexic. I love school, great upbringing, amazing parents, really lovely, tick, 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 tick. All my friends went to university but me. Because I was told at school I would make her a lovely wife. That was it. I was destined. What Hannah wants to say here is she doesn't even know if I made the grade as a lovely wife. And I've only ever achieved, I do have in this order of importance, 2 dogs, 2 children, 1 husband. So I'm quite proud that I'm still with my first husband. We haven't moved on, so therefore I might have got that right. But I haven't worked that out yet. The point is, I could be defined by I didn't go and get a degree. I wasn't told I had dyslexia at school. I was just thick. But actually what I did have was buckets of common sense and buckets of emotional intelligence. So whatever your superpower is, so my superpower is I listen. Julie wrote something really lovely on LinkedIn. Good listener. I listen. I pick up the bits that people don't really want to say, and I delve in very quickly to find out what's wrong. I can pull a string. People go, I don't know why I just told you that. I don't really know you. I think we did that 2 months ago. Sitting at the Impact, I think we were sitting there. She goes, I can't believe. So I haven't told anybody else, but I've just told you that. But that's my superpower, because I listen for different words, because in school, that's what I did. And from there, I realized I am quite academic. I just didn't fit the school system. So I didn't allow a vulnerability to define me. And impression management is something that I purposely did do prior to COVID. And a positive of COVID for me personally is that I don't hide a lot of stuff anymore. I share it. And that is what's going to make us better humans. One of our missions in Move is to make better human beings. And that is something I'm really, really passionate about. And there's one other thing I want to talk about as well. I just need to pull this up here because, yeah, I do have menopause, right? So prior to menopause, I wouldn't have needed a little screen here. I know Judy Hastings isn't here. I'm quite sad. Oh, where is she? Judy, Wave to me, Judy. Okay. Okay, Judy did a presentation recently on the menopause at Think Wine. I'm a non-exec director and coach at Think Wine, so I was invited. If you haven't heard Judy talk about the menopause, the next time she's doing a talk, you've got to go. I mean, she just holds an audience anyway. She's phenomenal. But the stuff that I even learned about myself at that point was like, it's interesting. Didn't know that. So I do. I think you should do a menopause session. I do. Anyway, what was on here was positive thinking is not going to be what you all need. You need change thinking. So I'm a bit fed up of people going, oh yeah, you know, I'm beautiful, I'm 6 foot, whatever it is. Positive thinking is going to make me 6 foot. Change thinking, it's just not, is it? It's just not. But change thinking is, I'm happy at 4'11". That's change thinking. So another thing I want you to take away is don't think by just saying positive things that you are going to change the course of your business, your home life, your private life. It has to be change thinking. And that change thinking is being specific in what you need to change to ensure that positivity. And if you switch the word from positive thinking to change thinking, you will achieve a lot more in what you need to do. So before I go, I just want to go through what I'm asked you to talk about on here. These foundations are not solid. So today, I was really excited about coming here today, going to lunch straight after, being invited for International Women's Day to Gaucho. Food, drinks, that's nice. Lunch. Them having a cocktail party at the Liver Buildings. That's quite nice too. So I'm not sure tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not sure that I might be a 10 tomorrow. I'm a 10 today. These all foundations aren't solid. Social media can affect us. So when you put this stuff on here, I will get the guys to send this out to you because you can print it out and use it for different stuff. You share it with your teams as well, by the way. Share it with your kids. If you can get this into kids' minds early, this is phenomenal stuff. So I'm an NLP practitioner, whereas I'm a master practitioner and trainer in NLP, and I have been doing that for 15 years too. I don't really share that a lot because I just use it as one of my little superpowers I have in my backpack when I'm talking to people. But the difference is knowing that each day you're not going to be a 10. So it's not being a 10 every day. It's how long you stay at a 10. And if you do come down, how long you come down and how long you stay here. So it's how deep the dive is and how long you stay here. So it's okay to go down. You need a bit of time, but then get yourself tracked back up again. And if you're struggling to get back up, get your sheet out and work out which part of it. Is it your self-worth? Is it your ability? Is it how you've shown up? It's something's been said. So how we can be affected is stress, failures, periods, menopause, social media, comment somebody says when you're sideblinded from it, a client that lets you down, somebody that you think's about to sign up and you don't close that deal, somebody who just puts you down. And I've had friends who potentially have always said something negative to me because I was quite successful. But I didn't tell you when all my friends went off to university. The last person went, I said to myself, I will earn more money than every one of you. And that's been my drive for my whole life, was not to be better than them, but to prove to myself that I didn't need a degree to be where I am. So before I go, I have some gifts to give out here. This one might not go down well, and I apologize for it, but it's how I feel. If we need to be taken seriously, promoted, set up your business, I want to be good at what I do because I am me, not because I'm female. I don't want to be promoted and I don't want to be invited into the boardroom because I'm female. I want to be invited into that boardroom or into any meeting I'm going to or being client work because I'm the best at what I do and they want me there for being Andrea Edwards and not because I'm female. And that is a strong message that I really, really believe in, that we all need to support and help each other. But